Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first meeting of Node.js on 2023 of Security Working Group, obviously. First, before continue, does anyone have an announcement? Okay, I think no. So first, I would like to say welcome everybody to this new year. It was awesome, the things that we did in the past year. Thank you. So, all right, as usual, let's go to the vulnerability review. I think we have just one issue there that needs to be answered. And also, there is one thing that I would like to ask Michael about. But basically, let's go. That there is one for OpenSSL 3396, but this doesn't affect Node.js. It was already assessed. Oh, okay. There is one from the NPM, right? Yes. So basically, this is one of the things that we need to discuss. This is a vulnerability inside or dependence of Node.js and NPM. And as we thought, I don't think that anyone from NPM would answer here. So it will be complex to maintain, I assume, right?
Which one do you like, the CV 2022-38900?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Yeah, so that one, I guess either, yeah, we could try and mention them to say, hey, do you think this affects NPM? Or somebody could take a look to try and figure that out.
Let me ping NPM.
Okay.
Hi, folks. Could you check if that's a fact? Node.js. Yes, itself. Okay.
And at least the good news is it's covered by the NPM update that we have in the pipeline.
Okay, great.
So I think we'll have a 14 release that pulls in the new NPM. There's some build issues and stuff like that, so it's not going to be like immediate, but once those build issues work their way through the system, we'll probably have a 14 release that'll roll up a whole bunch of these. I guess the only question would be, like, do we say it's a security release or not? You know, because a number of these, we said, okay, we don't think these actually are real reports or affect Node or.
And also that there is one thing interesting to say that I assume that most of the vulnerabilities inside NPM won't affect Node.js directly, right? It's more about the script you run, not the runtime of Node.js itself, because it will use different V8 and different environments itself.
It won't, if you just run Node, it won't affect it for sure. It's if you run NPM, which came with Node, right? Like, so if you do an install, for example.
Oh, on the Windows one, you mean?
Well, on any platform, if you do an NPM install, will the vulnerability somehow affect you, right? Because you're using NPM, or if the thing that makes this complicated is, like, is a decode URI component used if you do an NPM install? But it's used in some part of NPM, right?
Yeah.
And since we ship all of NPM, it's one of our dependencies.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we could look at that and say, like, okay, this vulnerability, like, what's possible though is, like, that's probably a valid vulnerability against decode URI component, but does NPM even use the API that that's vulnerable, right? Like, we've done those, when we do those OpenSSL assessments, we say, yeah, okay, there's vulnerability in OpenSSL. We search for our code base. We don't use that API. Therefore, we're not vulnerable, right?
Yeah,
That's the
basically,
same kind of thing
yeah,
that we would be nice to have on NPM is yeah, okay, it's a vulnerability, but does NPM use that APR or not? And if the answer is no, then it's easy to say that, it's does not actually affect anything.
yeah. Basically, the vulnerability is it's just when you pass the library does not validate the input, so it can cause a DOS, but the severity is low because uh, there is no assumptions in the library that they will validate it. So yeah,
Right. And, what is it that would have to like would you have to be if it's used during npm install and would you need a module with some URL that's specially crafted versus the ones that go against npm and all sorts of things like that is.
yeah. Okay.
So, but there'll be a release. I guess it is interesting to say, like, okay, if we knew that all these were truly did not affect Node, then we could easily say it's not a security release. Otherwise, do we mark it as such or not? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I just looking to the other one, the issue 63 from the NPM, but I just saw that yeah, we commented about it, I guess. I think we are good. So with the assessments, right? We can move on.
Yeah, unless somebody had time to do a more detailed look. But we've asked NPM, they should be able to do that the most effectively, right? Like they know the tool, so they can do that. That's great.
Okay.
So yeah, I think in terms of us discussing, that's probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Going to directly to agenda. The issue 852 is abort when vulnerable. I wrote that issue, and also I'm now just to comment that the first intention is to have it on core, but I will try to have it as a module first, just to confirm that we need something from the core. Oh, just a second. Okay, sorry. Okay, so oh, I forgot what I was saying. Yes, never mind. So I'm creating a module called is my node vulnerable or something like that, that can be used as with npx. So this will be very straightforward. It's just to test my theory that nobody will use it if it's not in the core, but I need to have a more elaboration than that, because just saying based on assumptions that it's better to have on the core doesn't mean that it will get on the core. But I would like to hear also your thoughts about it.
There was lots of discussion around this. I think I pointed to the related feature of
Yes.
checking whether you were up to date or not. And so there are lots of good concerns in terms of like, pulling the data from where and all that. So like, I think, if it's available as a module and people can use it that way, the question is, is what extra value do you get having it in core that overcomes all those other concerns, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, when you have that behavior behind a flag that explicitly says, okay, if you use it, your process will not start. We are just checking if you are vulnerable or not. That's pretty much the same as other runtimes. Like, I remember that I have a ban update, or Dino has something pretty similar, check update or something like that. my concern is just, okay, I will spend some time creating a module to be used on npx, and they want to use it as a third module instead. So but I don't have better a good way to sell it, to have it on the core besides,
Right.
you know. So I think I will pursue I will proceed with the module and see what happens. So
Makes sense.
yeah, I will just leave a comment that we discussed it on security 1.
Yeah, I took a note in the minutes, but
Okay.
I don't know where you're keeping the note, but
I know, actually, I'm just commenting in the issue just to remove the label.
oh, in the issue itself. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't. Got it.
Okay. Next one, the issue 846. It's about our initiatives. So I was expecting to see.
Did you skip 851?
Oh, yes, there's this one. Sorry. The 851, the add OSSF scorecard. Actually, I was expecting to see Gabi here too. But yeah, she was the one willing to discuss it. We have commented about it in our initiatives, right?
Yeah.
But I guess we didn't warn her about this meeting, I guess, or we didn't send another notification.
Yeah, I think we can specifically maybe ping her for the next one. And also there was another person, I mean another one coming today for commenting another issue, I think. And also, yeah, so I thinking that maybe in the next invitations, when we expect someone from outside of the working group recursive meetings, just the specific ping them on the issue or something. I think that way is easier.
Could you join 19? All right. So I think we need to move on, right? Unless someone want to discuss it.
No, I think maybe as part of the next one, like I do think the scorecarding is a good initiative for this year. And I don't know, there might even be other ones, but like the OSSF one is the perfect one to start with.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next issue. Actually, I think we will spend some time on the next issue. So I will just leave a comment about the permission model, the issue 791. I made very good progress on that. There's just one thing missing, is a Windows test failing. I'm waiting to get a Windows machine, but I think I won't have it on time. After releasing node.js, I will try to set up a Windows machine, and I will also store the pre-built image. So whenever someone wants to debug something on node.js with dependency as a dependency, they can just use that image. I think it will be helpful for everyone. Yeah, probably I will ask you a bunch of stuff, Ulysses. I don't know if you have experience with Azure, but yeah.
I can try to help here.
All right. So yeah, I made very good progress. There's just some clarifications we need to do, but I think that's very pretty soon it will be merged, I guess. There is no I don't know, -1 comments. It's just questions and clarifications. So I think we are good. All right, move on to the Security Working Group Initiatives 2023. Let me open it here. Let me recall where we stopped. Okay. So we already have an issue for the emit a warning when vulnerable. We talked about it. There's one about enforce communication with Node.js dependency. As we discussed it, that's doable, but we don't have we don't know exactly how to do it, how feasible is it actually. I have sent an email to the OpenJS folks and I didn't get an answer. So
yeah, that one I think like it'd be good to have like maybe recorded somewhere, like here's our table. We've gone through each of the dependencies and like who did we reach? If we end up with a contact, we can document who the contact is in that table. Or
yeah,
if the answer's it's not possible, we can put not possible so that like if anybody has ever asked the question before, we can easily say, yeah, here's what we did, here's what we tried to do for each of them, and we've confirmed like no, there's no option, or yes, there is an option. And
yeah, this is like different. It's about not they be in contact with we be in contact with the team with OpenJS, but it's about the OpenJS being in contact with us to share the patch of security release before the releasing, so we can assess
right,
it.
yeah. So, but that's that whole. I think under that title, like the whole thing can be. Well, one, have we already taken advantage of things like OpenSSL does have like a mailing list, right? So if I'm not sure if we know that like for all of our dependencies, are there a mailing list or not? So that's kind of like the first step is like, hey, are we on the public notification? Then there's the question of can we get a private notification in advance, and can they share patches in advance, right?
Yes.
So I think covering both of those under that sort of initiative would be a good idea to make, basically say we're doing our best on each of our dependencies in terms of what's possible about, finding out about, vulnerabilities and advanced information or not. Right.
Okay.
Like, for example, I know OpenSSL, I know like the TSC, we've subscribed to the OpenSSL mailing list, right? But
yeah,
the for libzip or whatever, one of those other ones, I don't know that anybody's ever considered whether there is an equivalent or not. And it would be, I think, good to go through for each of the dependencies and figure that out.
yeah, I have looked into the OpenSSL. There is nothing else. It's just we already subscribe to the public one, and that's all. They don't have other ones, I was wondering if we have someone that knows someone that work on the OpenSSL thing, and we have a contact and ask if that's feasible at least.
Yeah, whether they must have. I mean, they're big enough that. I mean, maybe they have like a contact us thing, right? Like we've had issues opened in our repo before, which are like, hey, can Node give us advanced, access to patches? And it's actually a pretty complicated thing in terms of like, well, who would you give access? And who not, and just even doing it's who's going to do the work to give it to them. But we have had, we've had issues. So I'm just thinking, like, for OpenSSL, could we find a place to open an issue asking that question, right? Basically say, hey, here from the node project, we're just exploring if there's any possibility to getting advanced access to patches for our vulnerabilities. Do you have a program like that? So, like, there's OpenSSL, like, I'm looking at their homepage, there's like a support link. There's commercial support though. Oh, that's supporting the project itself. Even if there's a way to report vulnerabilities, like that kind of what I would look for is like, hey, if like we have HackerOne again, like that might be a way to ask the question, or just if OpenSSL has a GitHub repo, that again might be a.
Yeah. The thing is, that's fine. I will include here. I will try to open that issue in the next week at least. Okay.
Yeah, the public issue is actually not bad in that then it's publicly, like, we can link to it and say, we asked the question here, the answer is no. Therefore, it's anybody who wanted to deep dig down into the context, it's an easy public documentation of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's very good. All right. So the next one that was okay, there's the SIG store, but we were waiting. We were waiting for Bat.
Yep.
She's not around again. So I will leave it to the next when Bat is available, I guess.
I think it's like, I'm not sure she's going to come to the meetings, but it's more like, I know it's something she was going to move forward, and she can give us, like, we can get an update at some point when things are moving forward at a.
Okay. Sure. The same. Figure out how do we stand in terms of supply chain standards and frameworks. So we agreed that it is not clear what problem it will solve, so we will leave it open. If someone wants to discuss about it, that's perfectly fine. But for now, I don't think that we are going to proceed with this initiative, right? That's the minute I have here, at least.
I think it's like, yeah, because I guess we should take the list that we've, and you had another PR to add some of them, right? For this year's initiatives.
No, it's the same issue on the top.
Okay, I thought for some reason you had another PR, but like we should take these and put them somewhere to say, hey, here for 2023, here's the list.
Yeah, we don't have a list, confirmed list yet. There is the pull request that Ulysses opened for the README of the project. So when we agree that okay, let's proceed with this one, we update the README. That's the deal.
Right. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I remember seeing that somewhere. So.
Yep. Yeah. Right. So the next one is explore how the project stands on the OSSF scorecard. So we had an agreement. So I think that we can proceed with this one. I'm not sure if that's already in our README. Let me check.
I think it's not.
It's not. So everybody agree? Moving forward with it.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So to include it there, we need to have an issue to keep tracking. And I don't know if we need someone to champion it or just the thing itself.
I think we can discuss it in the next meeting, probably when I don't remember the name.
Gabrielle.
Yeah, when Gabriel joined.
Yes.
So that we got more info, and then we can define the final champion. And also we can use that issue maybe as a reference for now for the in the README.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. And you can put in the status evaluation too. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do a pull request later.
Next one, look at fuzzing. I remember Michael did it Yes, and we just need to understand how useful it would be. Yeah, it
I think from our
also,
discussion, we kind of said could make sense, but it's probably lower priority than the
yeah,
others. So maybe it's one that we don't include in the first list, but if we get through all the others, we can loop back to it. It would be kind of my take.
all right. So, and the last one is better versioning and management of tools need to be built to update dependencies. Okay, you have updated it also. Let me remember. Okay, that's about we going to our dependencies and validate how it gets updated if if that's don't go out of date soon. That's the idea. I don't get exactly.
Well, it's like, so we're doing the first step of saying, like, let's automate the generation of our dependencies, right? So that gives us we know how to recreate the process. But in that process, for some of them, they use additional tools. So for example, like the ones that generate WASM, some of them pull down a version of WASI SDK. And this is sort of going the next step and saying, well, does it pull down the latest version of WASI SDK every time? So like it could change. So like, would you get the same thing if you did it again? Or have we pinned it to a particular version? Do we have any concerns about that tool disappearing? So for example, if we're pulling WASI SDK from a separate site, what happens if that's no longer available? We can't rebuild Node anymore. Is that okay? Or should we grab a copy of it and store it somewhere in our repo? So it's looking at the tools you need to build. And, we may look at it and say, yep, everything is great. We've, no concerns. Or we could look at it and say, hey, there's some risk to us being able to rebuild Node because, basically, if we pull the latest version of something every time, we could just get a different version every time. And maybe that's not so good, right?
Yeah, I just wondering how is it related to security? It seems more build stuff.
It's supply chain security as well, right? Like if you just pull the latest version of something and they've introduced something malicious into that, you pull it in. So it's related, I think, like software bill of materials is a big thing in supply chain, and it's related in part to that in terms of knowing which versions of the dependencies you use and is it repeatable / reproducible.
Okay, I see your point. First, we would need a list of things that we update like this. But for other ones, like for OpenSSL, for instance, they perform release, so we can get by release. That's fine. But for V8,
right.
they share the hash. We update based on the hash, not by release itself.
Right. So, but that's still a fixed version. And this would be more about are there any tools, we use the compilers to, I'm trying to think, are there any other tools the WASM is the best example I have where we need another tool to be able to take what our source code is and generate the WASM we actually put into Node. So it's more about if you're transforming that source before, you get to what you put into Node itself. I guess it's a little bit like the NPM dependencies as well. Some of the other ones, we actually have to do some NPM installs, and then we have to use those dependencies and well, what if there's vulnerabilities in those dependencies? What do we do? What does that mean, right? Or
yeah,
does it does it affect the actual code that's generated? And if so, then that's a potential security concern. I had to drop after the first 30 minutes, so I do have to run to that other meeting. But
Okay.
we'll talk to you all next time. Sorry.
All right. Okay. So I need to evaluate it if that's how. I mean, I understand the point. I see that it might be a problem, but I just don't get exactly how urgent or how critical is it. Because even if we use release, if we pin release, it doesn't mean that we are safe. It means that the vulnerability was not discovered. Just it. Okay, so I think we need more discussion on that. I would love to see your points too, if you have. Okay, I think we don't have things to share. And there's one that I have included last month was it might be more related to the release working group, but it's still useful. It's about creating nowadays the process to create a security release is very hard. It is 42 steps, takes too long for the releaser, and it needs more true releasers to perform all together. So we also have a CLI, if I remember correctly, a CLI that help on specific release. For instance, when you perform a LTS release, we have a Git release -- start LTS, and that does everything to you, and that works fine so far. So I was thinking to include another script that is Git Note Released, that's security. So it will create the issue, it will make all the steps, like open the issues in the build team, in the Docker team, if you remember, and the things that the bot can do, you know. So we can reduce that 42 steps to 20, I guess, 20. But I'm not sure how feasible is it to the node.js, to the security, because it's more a process. It's more about improving the process of the release, not the security itself. But if we think in the other way, that okay, if we have a script that does it, we will be able to perform a security release very often, or at least faster. I think that's doable, right? What do you guys think?
I mean, as a quick solution, we can say, like, if you reduce the steps or speed up the process to release a security release, actually increase the security. So from that side, we can cover the scope maybe. But I think it's more like if we are happy with the idea, you know, of taking ownership as a group and try to push this initiative, you know. But at least from my side, I'm happy with the idea. But
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's more like a group decision.
Yeah, and I don't think that's difficult to do. We just need to have an CLI with some API request, and that's all. Is Michael back?
I'm back. It looks like my other meeting isn't happening. So anyway,
All
I'm
right.
back.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we were just discussing about having a script to generate the security releases for us, not but just the issue. And you know, in the 42 steps, we need to open some issues in some repository, send some message to the mailing list. And I think that even that's not strictly security, but if we reduce the time to perform a security release, we are improving the security working group, the ecosystem itself. So I think that's that might be a good call.
Yeah, no, that I think I think the comment that anything that helps us manage our security processes or stance, like all that's security related in my mind, right? Like, yeah, you're right. Because like opening those different issues, that could easily be a script which is run and generates, GitHub issues with the comments and all that kind of stuff.
Even the mailing list, we can do it.
Yeah.
So we can reduce the 42 steps to 20, I guess.
Yeah. But no,
Right.
yeah, reducing some of the clicks and all that would be nice.
So I think that we finished the list. Okay, there's one from releases.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, there is one additional there. I can provide some context maybe for the people watching this and they don't have access to the moderation. So yeah, it was a long thread on the moderation actually. The key thing is they try to like modify one of the npm scripts to just like kind of a pull logs or something to an IP. So we detected easily and we closed it. But the discussion was interesting because at some point, I think Daniel raised the concerns, about if this can be, a problem, these kind of attacks that run the pull requests and things like that can be a problem for us, in terms of accessing to the CI secret or these kind of things, in terms of how we use GitHub Actions and stuff like that. So I think was a very interesting topic to discuss, in terms of if we are interested on, pursuing this kind of, are we implementing the best practices regarding, how we manage the GitHub Actions? There are room for improvement or not. I mean, I'm not an expert on all, and a lot of people, and few other people commented on thread also that the GitHub Actions already prevent some of that, so you can checkbox some of the rules. I mean, it was kind of interesting discussion. I think it's also linked to something that Michael said, like I think 2 meetings ago, related to, kind of there are some people interested in running some kind of audits on the website, other things. So there are some offers on, so maybe we can go in that direction as well, like opening to see, using our eyes, a little bit to understand and see if there are other places in the organization or processes or stuff like that where we can, give some advice, extra hand or research and provide and propose some changes and things like that. It was more like a wild thing rather than my super simple sentence on the issue, but yeah, that was the direction of that kind of initiative. How do you feel about it?
I think that's very good, actually. I'm looking to the issue you mentioned. I commented to it, but I forgot.
Yeah, I kind of like think that if we had that one, explore how the project stands in the OpenSSL scorecard. I think if we generalize that to explore how the project stands on key best practices, and then underneath that, one of them could be the OSSF scorecard, and then the second one could be the one that Ulysses just mentioned. And I suspect as we go through the year, we might even come up with like another one, which is like, oh, here's another best practice. But having that initiative to say, let's look at how we stand on best practices. And we've got like the OSSF one is a really good one to start with. And then the one that Ulysses mentions as well, like the GitHub, those sound like 2 concrete instances
yeah, I think that this is from the OSSF scorecard. Based on the result, we will probably have a bunch of issues or a bunch of tasks to do. And these might be one of them.
Right, there might be others. So that's why I was just thinking like generalizing that initiative to say the initiative is to compare ourselves against some like key standards. We're going to start with the OSSF one, and we can even like list this one that the ones that Ulysses mentions as like maybe next good steps. And because I think thinking about it in that broader context, but with some specific starting points is probably a good way to do it.
Okay, I'm taking notes. All right. Very good. So I would like to leave this meeting with a clear plan for 2023. So let's just confirm that we all agree in the following list. Let me open it here again. Let me share my screen. I think it's better. Yeah. Share the screen. Sharing. Okay. So currently, the initiatives we have is the permission model under it's going well. We have the automate the dependencies is in progress. There is the flag to remit a warning when vulnerable. Is still that's in evaluation. I need to have a proof of concept before moving on. So it might not be an initiative for 2023, just discovery. And today we agreed on the OSSF scorecard, looks like, but we still needs to wait for Gabriela discussion. And there's the SIG store, but I don't think that it will be run by this working group. It will be like a separate related work from that, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to look at it. Like, they'll be driving some work, and I think it'd be good for this group to be aware of that. And
yeah,
but yeah, I don't think necessarily it has to be in the list.
And we also looks like we have an agreement on the security release script, but I'm not sure if we should consider it as a initiative for 2023. Let me get here. We have two clears initiatives. The next one is the OSSF scorecard, and probably the other one will be yes. That's the thing. We agreed to have at least 4 initiatives. I don't think that we need to have more because we won't be able to proceed. So we have those 3 to discuss which one is have high priority on that. Do you get it? Does that make sense? So for 2023, the following initiatives we are proceeding. Oh my God, my English is not the best one. With the following initiatives, permission model, automate dependencies, OSF scorecard.
I would call that one like best practices. Assessment against best practices.
Mm-hmm.
And then like under as a bullet point would be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We
can include the GitHub Actions there also, I think, right?
Yeah. It's a deep step in that, I guess.
Yeah, maybe to detail, yeah.
And the last one I think is the last one because yes.
I think the like the better versioning is kind of like a follow-on to the automation one.
Oh, I remember now. We basically need to automate. I mean, it's better at least to automate all the dependencies and then look to the pinpoints to the dependency.
Right, exactly. Because once we've automated it, we've got it well documented. It's got so I kind of see those tied together. So like I put them together, like maybe the initiative is improve management of dependencies, and it's got two parts: automate the dependencies update, and then that second piece.
I was thinking about having just the ultimate dependency, and for the second quarter, if we finish it,
Sure. Yep.
we include it as a second
Yeah, okay.
initiative,
So
you know?
that's fine. Yeah, like in that context, like definitely start the automated dependency update first for sure.
Yeah. All right. Great. So we are in the enforced communication with Node.js dependency and the security release script. Based on what we talked about, I'm pretty sure that security release script will be way feasible than trying to contact all the dependencies. And I mean, I will open the issue. If they say, okay, that's feasible, let's do it. Then it might be this another initiatives for the next quarter or the next year. I don't know, but
The simpler part though is like, do we know if we're plugged in? Like I know for OpenSSL we're on the mailing list, but for all the other dependencies, are we on the mailing lists, or how do we keep track of those? I'm not sure we're on top of all that.
Yes. Yeah. Right now, I think the only problem we have on release is just OpenSSL, right? The other ones don't at least bump very several secret patches, only OpenSSL. So
they're not that often, you're right. And I guess our security vulnerability, like right now we have the scanner that will tell us after a security vulnerability has been published. There may be like, we're on the email for OpenSSL that says, hey, we're about to publish an OpenSSL vulnerability, right? So we at least get a week's notice. I don't know that we do that for the others, but maybe the others don't actually have, some of them are smaller.
Yeah, probably they don't have. Only Zlib or OpenSSL and I don't know, V8 at maximum. They might provide it to us. The other ones I'm pretty sure they don't have that workflow. They just ship the CV and that's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will open the issue on OpenSSL, but I'm pretty sure that we need to skip it for the next quarter. Because it might not be an initiative for us because we'll be blocked waiting for an answer that might never happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it won't be something that's easy to make. A lot of that particular piece will be a lot of back and forth if it does.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think that the security release script is a good one, or do you think that we can leave the third the last one open for, I don't know, after 2 meetings we found that okay, that's good, let's put it in as an initiative?
I guess there's do we have somebody who would work on the security release script? It does that. Yeah,
it will be me probably.
Right. Okay.
So the context,
I think can be feasible. Let's see who want to champion each initiative, so we can see a little bit more bandwidth in terms of leadership, and then resources. But
yeah, currently we have me here. We have Facundo here, but probably Facundo will need some. I saw that his list is too long. Probably he will need some help in that. I'm not sure. This will be we need a champion, but it will be more. We will discuss it every time on the meetings, I guess. And the last one, security script, probably will be me. With the help of the release team. So what about including it? I guess that's doable at least.
Yeah, I think including it, like looking at how we can optimize security releases.
Yeah.
For OpenSSF.
Oh yes, you did that.
I will. Yeah, I think I will be okay to champion this one.
How is your nickname?
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah. With a H, Thomas. Yeah. But
yeah, it's like different here, right?
yeah. It's not. It's. I can write on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Not easy translation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that we are good. So yes, is everybody happy with this? Because I'm pretty sure permission model will be released this quarter. This one, it will depends of the progress with the OpenSSL, but I'm pretty sure that will be. And that, I think the only one that will take more time is the last two. But I think we are good.
Yeah, I think we are good, and we can review it later on during the year. As soon as we achieve new things, we should pop up new ones. So, yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
we finished on time. Great.
Yay.
I will open the issue just to actually. I will select this issue and I will share it on Twitter just to get more visibility on that. So I will link also the issues. And that's it. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome. See you in